Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm Alan, your host. We're going to be talking about Breeders' Cup Classic rankings here and fair odds of each of the 10 horses should they reach the Breeders' Cup and actually decide to go. What I see is the fair odds for each of them. Look at the top 10, the current top 10. These rankings have been coming out, a handful of them now. This is the latest and greatest. They come out every Tuesday. And they're going to continue to come out through the first week of October, leading up to the Breeders' Cup. Now, these rankings are put together by a group panel of experts chosen by the Breeders' Cup Committee, and they determine who they see as the top 10 every single week. And now a bunch of people have been putting out their idea of fair odds for these horses. Now, keep in mind, it's important to look at this objectively, considering the Breeders' Cup is still a long, long, long way away. About 2 months, to be exact, right? 2 months away. That's 1/6 of a year. Sometimes I see these experts putting videos out there or putting post articles out there, and I see them putting these fair odds that swing so wildly from week to week. I'm going to be giving you my fair odds with a level head here. I'm not going to go nuts and jump off a bridge because a horse had a bad race and say they have no shot all of a sudden when a week everybody was all over them. So I'm going to, stay calm here. Stay calm when you look at this. That's what I'm going to do. Look at this with an unbiased eye of the top 10 and the rankings right now. Keep in mind again, I'm doing this with 2 months away. It's a very long time away. Have you ever had a date, something coming up, something that you were looking forward to that was 3 days away and that seemed like forever? Well, now we're talking about 60 days away. So let's keep a level head when we look at these entries, and then my fair odds. I give it to you with an unbiased eye. And I'm going to also touch, once I get through these top 10, I'm going to touch on one that might be pointing to the Breeders' Cup Classic, Torpedo Anna, what I think her fair odds would be. But let's look at the horses now that are in the top 10 of these latest rankings. All right. So let me bring them up. And I have my fair odds to the right of these. So let's take a look. Sovereignty is ranked number 1, nice firm griff. Comes off a victory in the Travers Stakes. Fierceness jumps now to the second position. You see their fair odds. What I see is their fair odds at the right. I think some of you might be screaming already that I have Sovereignty at 7-1, but I'm going to tell you why. So stay with me here. And I think you might see this in a different light. And remember, even keel here. It's too early to go nuts over this. And Sierra Leone, 3rd. Mindframe, 4th. Journalism, 5th. Forever Young, 6th. Nobody seems to respect Forever Young. Wins the Saudi Cup, ran a race that if he runs that race again, probably no one beats him in here. Anyway, Niso 7, Baeza 8th. Antiquarian suddenly in there at not ranked 9th, and Highland Falls number 10. Let's talk about the fair odds here, and we'll begin with the favorite. See, when I say favorite, I see Sierra Leone fair odds on this one as 4-1. Very consistent horse, won the Breeders' Cup on that track last year. Defending champion, voted top 3-year-old. Very consistent horse, has never missed the board. Very, very reliable. He's a contender. And in this type of race, the big closer, with a lot more horses than a bunch of these have faced lately in the Breeders' Cup. Running style, top jock, good chance to be around, or at least hit the board, and maybe even win. What happens if there's a wicked speed duel? This one, post position. This one can work their way around the track. And I believe that's a fair odds, okay? 4-1. That's what I see for Sierra Leone. Now, the second one, Fierceness. Fierceness, Second choice, 5-1. This one comes off a victory on the track in the Pacific Coast Classic. Damn near won the Breeders' Cup Classic last year, if not succumbing to a brutal pace. I mean, 44-9 for the opening half. And Fierceness, some question Johnny V for going too quick on Fierceness. Why was he hooking up in this speed duel? And he still damn near hung on to win that race. Just finished a length and a half or so, deep stretch to Sierra Leone. Victim of pace. Will there be that kind of a pace this year? We don't know. We'll have to see if somebody sneaks in there that's a rabbit again, like last year, running really quick early. But Fierceness comes off a victory off the track, ran great on the track last year in the Breeders' Cup, went a little too fast early. I put that one in there at 5-1. Certainly, Fierceness, if Fierceness and Sierra Leone run their best race, I was so tempted to flip them around the other way. But here's the thing with Fierceness. He can throw clunkers in there. He is not consistent like Sierra Leone. So if he doesn't bring his A game, sometimes he brings his D game or worse. But hasn't really thrown any terrible clunkers this year so far, except maybe his previous race, last race at Saratoga, where that was just not a good showing at all. So, but Fierceness brings his A game, certainly a contender, likes the track, handles it well. We saw it in the Breeders' Cup, and we saw it in the Pacific Coast Classic, getting the job there. I see him as the second choice at 5-1. Now, here's what everybody's maybe wondering about: Sovereignty. Why do I see this one as 7-1? Well, for starters, Sovereignty has not run on the track before, unlike some others who have run well at Del Mar before. Sovereignty hasn't run on the track at all. It's not run at Del Mar. Something to be said about that. Okay? We know Fierceness has run there well before. Sierra Leone, defending champ, has run there well before. Journalism has won there before. Go down the list. I mean, see, some of the favorites there, they have run there before and done well in the past. And certainly Nysos has run there well in the past. So you see some other heavy hitters here that have put up big speed figures, and they've done that well before. It's done well before. Sovereignty, another thing. Some say, okay, he has the highest buyer speed figure this year of any horses out there, right? And he put it up there in his last race in the Travers Stakes. What about that Travers Stakes? 5-horse field, faced a bunch of tomato cans, basically. Who did he face over there? He didn't face anybody. He was not tested. Even in the Jim Dandy, it was the same thing. Baeza, the only one capable of putting up any kind of fight against him in a relatively small field. So there's a problem there. I see a problem there. He's virtually untested. He's unchallenged. And unlike, say, he's never faced older horses. Never faced older horses before. And that buyer speed figure, getting back to that a second, keep in mind that's a buyer speed figure. There's other deeper, more accurate speed figures available. I'll just give you two right up front. The Ragozin sheets and the Thorograph sheets. By those numbers, Sovereignty hasn't he doesn't have faster number. There are other horses in here who run faster in the past, including Fierceness, Sierra Leone. Journalism, well, he's on the bubble a bit. Sierra Leone got it on him. Nysos, right there. Baeza has run some big ones. So his Sovereignty's numbers come up a little light compared to the other. And another thing, he keeps getting better, improving every race as far as those speed figures, Ragozin and Thorograph that I'm talking about. He's getting better every race. Does he have a bounce in store? He's probably improved off his figure from the previous race. So Speed figure, I wouldn't put too much in there. And also keep in mind the pace of the race, the contenders he's going to be having to face. Still, I respect them 7-1. You'll be getting a price there. And then we go down to my next choice, Nysos, very lightly raced, had some bruising in one of his hind hoofs or whatever. So didn't race in the Pacific Coast Classic, but this one has run very well, has put up some big numbers, and knows the track. So you got to keep this one in mind. Nysos over there, Baffert, certainly going to be a contender on the track. Another one with experience, 8-1. Untested, that's my knock on him as far as lightly race. And then we'll just go to some of the others. Journalism, he has an edge he has on Sovereignty. At least he went in there and competed with older horses, and he took on Fierceness, and he was closing well. You know, he ran out of real estate. He was around. Sometimes his jockey, Umberto Rispoli, he's gotten some criticism around, you know, even from Pletcher. You know, he rides the horse like he's a allowance or a claiming horse. Tremendous horse journalism. Shows that he can do it, and he competed well in the Pacific Coast Classic. Has never missed the board. Knows the track. So I believe this one is going to be a handful over there. Journalism, yeah, 10-1. Might even beat Sovereignty. Who knows? The only two times they faced each other, faced each other on a wet track. And it's not that like it was a big difference between the two of them as far as lengths beaten, first finishing 1-2. Does Journalism experience on the track top Sovereignty, and the fact that he gets him on a dry track, gets him on his own turf, you know, his track. So Journalism 10-1, Forever Young. Yeah, we'll respect this one. You know, big race at the Saudi Cup earlier. Always comes to play. Kind of reminds me of Sierra Leone a bit, deep closer. But I think he might be up against it, but certainly a contender. Certainly a contender at 12-1 by Baeza. He's heading over to Philadelphia Parks, pointing to the Pennsylvania Derby. He'd have to improve 15-1. I'm tempted to put him even a little bit higher, but still very expensive horse, about $1.3 million, and it was fairly lightly raced and always around in his races. He was there with you know, when Sovereignty got him, you know, over at Saratoga. But, you know, 15-1 as far as the other ones, 20-1 Mindframe. I want to get to Mindframe. Now, he, you know, Jockey Club Gold Cup falls off the horse, you know, Jockey Throne basically didn't get in the experience that he needed here. Is he going to have enough time to get ready here? But why at 20-1? He's another one. His sheet numbers, the thoroughgraph are the ones I use, you know, but Ragozin basically is very similar. Mindframe's numbers come up light compared to a bunch of others in here. And I was even looking at him in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and I was like, hey, this one's going to get beat. I'm not even so sure he's going to hit the board unless he improves. Well, we didn't find out if he's going to improve, and now we got to keep an eye on that. And I'd certainly put he did top Sierra Leone over at Churchill Downs, but in a close race. But Mindframe versus Fierceness versus Sovereignty. That's why I have him so high. And as far as the other Antiquarian, I haven't seen enough from this one to be impressed yet. He comes out of a race that, you know, where they had to come out, you know, where Mindframe lost the jock. And even there's some, looking at Sierra Leone, that one, you know, getting stuck with the closing, running towards the back, and really had to slow up with that, with the situation with Irad Ortiz going down. and just barely missed beating Antiquarian, catching him. So Sierra Leone might have been a victim there, victim of what happened in a sorry situation. Otherwise, could have won that Jockey Club Gold Cup. Antiquarian, no, I don't see it. Highland Falls, nice horse around. I really don't see. Come on, why they even put this one in the top 10 is beyond me. And 30-1. And some might be asking, oh, Alan, how come you don't have any horses in there at 50 or 60 or 100-1 in there? Well, I'm looking at these odds of these horses, and all of these are good in one way or another. And last year's Breeders' Cup Classic, there were 3 horses that went off. Two in the 69-1. That was the longest odds, and one was 64-1. There was another that was about 58-1. So I'm just giving you these here. So, but if you're going to say, if I was going to make a horse, 50-1 or 75-1, I'd be talking the Highland Falls and that. But otherwise, Baeza, I probably should have a little higher than that. But I'm going to be fair here. That's a good horse, and it has really done nothing wrong. Let's see what he does. So that's the standings there. And these standings, remember, they're going to come out every week. I don't know. I don't see that they're going to change much from this week to next week. You have to see if any of these entries are running in those races. But I want to talk about another one in here. McPeak, they're talking latest is thinking about, hey, Torpedo Anna. He has nothing left. She has nothing left to prove in the distaff, taking on the girls again. So let's go and, let's put her out there and make it a grand year and possibly win a Horse of the Year and defeat the boys in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Beautiful story, romantic story for racing fans that are big Torpedo Anna fans. Well, I was at Travers Day, and she got probably more applause, whatever, than Sovereignty in the stands, and from what I saw during the introductions. A lot of fans, everyone loves her. Of course, a lot of women racing fans are crazy about her. So, what are her chances if she goes into this? Personally, I hope that McPeak, if he runs her back in the distaff as a defending champ, because she stacks up well there against the top fillies, and she did get the job done on Travers Day. But by the sheet numbers, thoroughgraph numbers, she's too slow. Her numbers, she hasn't never put up numbers fast enough to compete against the top guys here in the top 10. And they tried this once, as far as the pure numbers go, and even the buyer figures go. But speaking about buyer speed figures, in her win on Travers Day, when in that thrilling victory, she just nosed out the horse to win by basically a nose, right, for first place. Some photos look like she even might have lost. Her buyer speed figure during that thrilling victory was 100. 100. You know what Sovereignty's was in winning the Travers? 115. Some other speed buyer speed numbers, Antiquarian 108. Fierceness wasn't at his very best, but he still even put up a 1.7. She would get squashed. And Nisos, go down the list. That's a overzealous move if he decides to run her in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I don't want to see her go out that way, getting bloodied on the field, not literally, but as far as where she places in the race against the others. Take your time on this decision, Kenny, before you do anything rash that maybe, puts a sour taste in everybody's mouth that likes her fans, seeing her go down in flames in the Breeders' Cup. Now, what would I put her fair odds be in the Breeders' Cup Classic? Just because of her tenacity, and who knows, maybe some of the horses get a bad trip. Maybe somehow she's still maturing. Fair odds for her. I'd go I'd go about 75-1 on her. I don't think she'd have a shot in that race. So that's my take on that. So what do you think? Breeder fair odds. What do you think of these rankings? Leave it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, may the horse be with you.